Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jax Austin and we are inside Dan the Adventure Bus. Dan, we're gonna have to rewind a bit. I basically didn't have a dad growing up. And so, man, I just said my goodbyes. You can include this, by the way, too. I just said my goodbyes to Cassie on my video. It was all like teared up, so excuse me. But I didn't have a dad growing up, and Dan was basically my dad, and he took me under his wing, and he was just kind of at a loss of words right now, emotional. But he was basically the dude who took me under his wing, who was a guy to be there for me. One of the first things we did was I was really into baseball at the time, and so went to the sporting goods store and bought like 50 baseballs and then just pitched them to me like all day long. He was just an incredible human being. And so that's why it's Dan the Adventure Bus. I just wanted to name the bus something, and just the most obvious thing was to name it Dan. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. So there were several reasons that went into getting a bus. One, it's charming. You can't drive down the street without somebody smiling, waving, or having some like fuzzy good feeling like, oh, back in the 70s I totally did that, or I wanted to do that, or my gosh, apartments are so expensive, why am I wasting my money? That's something I want to do. So that was part of it. Part of it was I couldn't find an RV that's diesel. I have a diesel. I have a 7.3 Power Stroke, which is amazing. Another part of it was the depreciation factor, which we were just chatting about. So what yours has depreciated in that amount of time is basically parts, like what this cost me. There were some other expenses. I didn't know how to do woodworking and mechanic stuff, so it jumped up a little bit, but bare bones, everything you see, everything in the bus is about 15. And it's crazy, right? To think that you can build something and actually appreciate and value as opposed to depreciate, because those things drop like an anvil. And plus, by the time, if you get one used, there's wrinkles and stuff, there's stains and stuff, it smells funky, maybe there's something wrong with it, and not that this thing was perfect, but it's essentially a blank slate, an empty table to start from, a blank canvas. It's cool, and there's this very interesting school bus community, because everyone's done similar things when they are building their school bus, right? So what kind of insulation, how do you deal with the cold, how do you deal with the heat, how do you work on the engine, because most people aren't mechanics that get into this. So at first I was taking this thing to the shop. Now I'm working on it on my own. Just completed tons of stuff. Coolant, thermostat housing, fan belt. That's stuff I've never done before, and I had auto shop in high school. There is definitely an aspect of pride of ownership with this, because these school buses basically reflect your vision, or in my case, lack thereof. I just wanted a cool looking bus. I didn't want the Home Depot bus. I wanted like some cool wooden man cave where I could travel around the country and make YouTube videos. So there's obviously many ways to skin a cat. You could do the denim insulation, you could do the fiberglass, you could do foam, hard foam, you could do the spray, but guess what? None of it really matters. Why? Because it's surrounded with windows. So no matter how hard you try, it's still going to be hot in the summer, and it's still going to be freezing in the winter. It's a give and take with these things. It's like, how much is a little bit better insulation worth? Or do you put that money towards like an AC unit, right, or batteries, right? So that's just what you deal with when you have a school bus. I basically learned that the older than me people that have been doing the RV lifestyle are all smart. They're all smarter than me. They're north in the summer, they're south in the winter. If you want to learn anything about school buses or the lifestyle, you need to jump on some RV forum, because I guarantee you they know way more than we do. We're just young guys with a bunch of impact drivers and ambition, basically. The school bus forums are great for the school bus stuff, but the RV forums are better for the lifestyle and other certain things. I recently learned that you can get a permanent license plate. I had no idea. That was on an RV site. The best states to be like RV full time, like South Dakota, Florida, Texas, on and on. Montana, I think too. Washington. That's on an RV form. That's not on the school bus form. You want to learn how to put insulation or something in a school bus, or how to tinker with your engine, like hit schooly.net. Otherwise, any of the RV forums are great resources. It's registered in the state of Washington, which was absurdly easy. I've heard horror stories of people trying to transfer over the title for RV from commercial school bus. Mine, I just went inside. They said, what kind of license plate you want? And I said RV, and that was it. They didn't even look at the bus. I just had to weigh it. I'm insured as a commercial vehicle, not an RV, because of the whole Virgin Mobile thing. Which the sponsorship, which I had for a while, and also future sponsorships. So I just said, for liability's sake, it's just worth it to do the commercial. Technically, yes, yeah. But at the same time, it's really, we're talking like a couple $100 difference for a year, and the amount of money that you're saving by doing this, some things you just have to spend more money on. There are so many things that I would do differently on my next bus. I made so many amateur mistakes, but that's how you learn when you don't know anything. One, for instance, I wouldn't have ripped out the insulation on the walls. I would have left the original metal, kind of structure thing like that, and it would have built out, framed it the whole proper way, and then ran electricity through there, plumbing perhaps, all that fun stuff, and hit it. Another thing, these are beautiful hardwood floors from the Northeast, but they do not, they're like a cat. They hate water. So it just, they get damaged really, really easily. So when I bought the bus, they said that the onboard air conditioning worked. And I bought this thing sight unseen because it had only 100,000 miles on a diesel, which, as you know, is pretty awesome. I believe them when they said that everything worked, the heater worked, the AC worked. Well, let's just say $2,500 later, it worked. And that was about 50% of the purchase price of this bus. So just buyer beware, be smart, do your homework. Don't be too excited or ambitious to buy something just because you want to join the bus life or whatever. Like, get a solid bus. There's plenty of places to get them from. There's no shortage of buses. And if not, you will definitely pay the price in the end. So the moral of the story, do your homework. How much do tires cost? How much is the gas mileage? What happens if something mechanically goes wrong? On and on. Because this isn't like a little toy car here. This is a massive commercial vehicle with massive commercial parts and a massive commercial sticker price on it. Well, it's one of those things, like for tires, for example, do you want to get a new tire and have the confidence of knowing that they aren't going to blow out? Or do you want to get a retread and maybe blow out going 50 miles an hour down a hill and die possibly, but ruin all the hard work that you put into it? There's a couple things that you don't want to mess with. One of them is tires. That's a great question. I think there's a couple answers to it. I think, yeah, it's definitely shining light on this. Van life, bus life, whatever you want to call it, renovating something, living in it. But I think that has a lot to do also with the cost of living. People are doing this because they see it as a good option to working 80 hours a week, or not having extra money to spend, or maybe they are a person who can work from a computer, so they don't need to be necessarily in one place. I think it's great that more people are doing it. I wish I even thought of this idea when I went through college. I would have saved a ton of money. Compound interest is no joke. And yeah.
Right major too. too.
Yeah, but no, I think it's great. I am a total advocate for living in a vehicle, even in a city. This is not exactly a stealth vehicle, but I'm trying to get to the point where it just covers my expenses of travel, and that for me is the new American dream.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.